Test. 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 Testing. 1, 2. Test. 1, 2. Test.
Test. Test.
Okay, you've got a couple more minutes. If you need handouts, they're on the back table. If you want to follow along during the meeting, they're right back there. You can take them home with you. We'll get started in about 3 minutes.
It is 7 o'clock. Testing. 1, 2. Can everybody hear me? Okay. It is 7 o'clock, and I would like to call this meeting to order. Would you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. My name is Don Lips, and I am the president of the school board. To my left is Heather Staggs, our vice president, Jackie Deckard, our secretary, Michelle Ball, board member, and Matt Hankins, board member. To my right is our interim superintendent, Dr. William Roberson, and to his right is our assistant to the superintendent, Mrs. Susie Lips. On behalf of the board and the administrative team, I'd like to welcome you to the February 17th, 2022 school board meeting. I thank you for attending and being engaged with our school system. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting school business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Opportunities for participation will be permitted in accordance with policy B250. I would like to remind everyone that 48 hours prior to our meeting, all meeting documents are posted on our website for you to view in advance of the meeting. At this time, I would like to introduce Mrs. Susie Lips, to welcome our student groups that we are recognizing here this evening.
Thank you. Please welcome at this time Martinsville School's best spellers from all the elementary schools, Bell Intermediate Academy, and John R. Wooden Middle School. This past month, Martinsville Schools facilitated spelling competitions and selected winners. These top students, their teachers, and parents were invited to be recognized tonight. So at this time, if all spellers and the representatives from the school could come up and stand up here in front of the board members, or no, how about over here so everyone can look at you? Our district celebrates the students standing in front of you because of their success with spelling. However, more importantly, our school community knows that students who prioritize spelling as a skill and grow into outstanding spellers also develop self-confidence, communication and public speaking skills, and the ability to thrive under pressure. Good spellers are known to be self-motivated, probably a little competitive. They usually have a coach and are committed to hard work. Human brains are not specifically designed to do spelling or reading, like they are with walking or speaking. These skills have to be learned. They are not built in. Spelling and reading can only be traced as far back as written language, several thousand years. Spelling bee competitors are intellectually curious. Great spellers are often avid readers, and they commit a lot of words to memory. But they also study prefixes, suffixes, foreign languages, and definitions that will help them deduce how a word is spelled. Research shows that spelling is important for 3 key reasons: communication, literacy, and employment. Students who are strong spellers go on to become good communicators in their families and with their jobs because spelling is a critical component of communication. Also, spelling and reading skills are closely related and help develop overall literacy. Looking to the future, outstanding spelling ability has a direct impact on employment opportunities for these students. Congratulations. We appreciate you being here tonight, and we also want to congratulate your parents and all the support people you have in the audience. At this time, each school's representative is going to come forward individually and introduce their students, and we are going to reward them with a spelling medal that they can take home and wear. They also have a little flyer in the back that they're going to put on the refrigerator if they want, so they can always remember this occasion. At this time, Brooklyn Elementary, please come forward.
Come on up. Yes, this is great. Our spelling champion was Dominic Stahl, and our runner-up was unable to be here tonight, but that was Olivia Spencer, and our pronouncer was Miss Stribe, so thank you. Thank you.
Centerton Elementary.
At Centerton Elementary, our winner was Mr. Nate Winnicky, and our runner-up couldn't be here tonight, but that was Miss Taylor Hiddle. I also appreciate Mrs. Trina Dodge and Miss Katie Arthur for helping to facilitate.
Green Township Elementary.
Mr. Spar could not be here this evening, so I will introduce our runner-up, which is Ben Lawson. Who was the winner? And the winner was Lucas Boggs. Congratulations, Ben.
Paragon Elementary.
Hi, Lila Canoy's our runner-up. William Metlock was not able to attend tonight. Thank you.
Poston Road Elementary.
All right, congratulations to Mr. Keenan Harmon for being our winner. Also, Addie Hartman could not be here today, but she was our runner-up. And I will mention that all of our winners are advancing to the Regional Spelling Bee, which is next Saturday at the Monroe County Library. So best of luck to all of our Martinsville spellers. Oh, also, sorry, a big thank you, she's not here tonight, to Molly Farron, who facilitated our spelling bee. So thank you.
Smith Elementary.
Hi, I'm Kari Palma, and I'm proud to have been the facilitator of our spelling bee. And tonight we have our champion, Wyatt Gamble, and our first runner-up, Henry Scott.
South Elementary.
Our runner-up was Ashton Lucas, and our winner was Joseph Pashas. He is unable to be here tonight. Thank you to Jesse Hostetter for facilitating at South.
Bell Intermediate Academy.
I'm Stephanie Johnson. I was the facilitator this year, and our champion was Quincy Jordan. Yeah. And our runner-up was Nathaniel Robbins. All right, thank you.
John R. Wooden Middle School.
Hi, my name is Krista Matthews, and I facilitated the spelling bee at JRW. And in quite an epic battle and showdown, these two went head-to-head. And our champion is Abram Polly. And our runner-up is Haley Hickman.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you all being here. Let's hear it one more time for all the spellers. Whoa.
Well, first of all, congratulations to everyone, but would you please remain up there for a few minutes? Are there any parents that would like to take a picture before we part?
We do. Grace, do you want to take one for the reporter? And I know we do from the district. So scoosh in, everybody. Tighter than that. Let's. Maybe kind of, yeah. All moms, grandmas, everyone get it? Okay, we're good to go. Thank you so much.
Okay, again, congratulations. And at this time, we would like to invite everyone to stay to the meeting. You're more than welcome to stay, but we're giving you an out here. We're going to give you an exit plan. So if you do not want to stay for the meeting, now's the time for you to get up and exit. We'll give you a couple minutes. We always do. Okay, recess is over. It's time to resume class. At this time, next thing on the agenda are public comments for agenda items. We have none. So the next thing on the agenda here is our consent agenda. We receive information several days in advance. The consent agenda includes payroll claims, minutes, payroll reports, budgetary claims, certified and non-certified personnel report. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of passing the consent agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, student field trips. Dr. Roberson.
Okay, Ryan Cox has been invited to attend a conference in Alexandria, Virginia, March 13th through the 15th about high ability education. Recommend approval for, and it's no cost to the district. Recommend approval for this field trip.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the National Advocacy Conference for Ryan Cox.
I'll make the motion to approve the field trip for Ryan Cox to the National Advocacy Conference.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, we have another request for a field trip, AP Physics at the high school for a trip to Kings Island. And apparently there's a new roller coaster, and this will be engineering folks that are going and studying this new roller coaster. So would recommend approval.
Okay, again, I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of the AP Physics Kings Island trip.
I move that we approve the Physics Kings Island trip.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? And again, this is our engineering students from Mrs. Schoolcraft's class, I believe.
Yes.
All in favor of approving the AP Physics Kings Island trip signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank goodness. Next on the report, or excuse me, next on the agenda is the Curriculum Instructional Assessment Report. Mrs. Susie Lips.
Kindergarten Kickoff is next week on February 24th, and we're going to use our new facility, the Martinsville High School Field House, to facilitate, Kindergarten Kickoff. That was all good news if you missed it. The Indiana Department of Health, this is awesome news, released new COVID guidelines today. Please find copies of the updated information in the back. Big news is that beginning February 23rd, next week, schools will no longer be required to conduct contact tracing or report positive cases to the Indiana Department of Health, positive COVID cases. Yeah. Also, schools will no longer need to quarantine students who are exposed to positive COVID cases, regardless of vaccination status or whether the school requires masks. Individuals who test positive for COVID should isolate for 5 days and may return on day 6 if that student has been fever-free for 24 hours without the use of medication, so long as symptoms are improving. That information, there's 3 sheets, a news release from the Indiana Department of Health, and then two of our COVID documents that we've updated and put on our website are back in the back. You want to take those home to refer to. Textbook adoption, staff, parents, and the community have been actively involved with the math textbook adoption this year. Final selections are being made and will be forwarded to the school board for final approval in March. I saw a group of parents and community members coming down from our professional development room this evening before our board meeting, so I know our community group has been active with this, and so have our teachers. I want to give a student shout out to Martinsville High School junior swim team member Molly Stout, who placed 13th in the state in breaststroke. Congratulations to Molly and to her family. Attendance. I'm proud to report that Martinsville Schools attendance rates are very high. Good attendance is a sign of outstanding personal habits such as effort, organization, diligence, and responsibility. If a child is missing school, he, she is missing out. They're missing out on curriculum, friendships, extracurricular activities, and so much more. Attending school every day reinforces a sense of belonging, and most importantly, good attendance at school is the #1 factor in a student's success at school and throughout his or her future. Priorities that leaders, teachers, staff, parents, and community value in our Martinsville School District are these: providing a culture of respect, maintaining a sense of community, modeling transparency, providing accountability, acknowledging concerns, listening, demonstrating good communication, providing accessibility to policies and procedures, teaching leadership skills to students, providing a servant, kindness first culture. Important dates in social media. In the spirit of good communication and transparency, a list of important dates for spring 2022 and our school district calendar is included in tonight's packet of information. If you want to help celebrate student achievement and Martinsville school successes, please see our social media links provided. Important school announcements are also made via social media links. Shout out goes to Director Rick Armstrong and the Artesian Theater and Drama Club for last weekend's performance with Play On. STEM vocational programming, grades K through 12, the Martinsville School District is incorporating a fluid progression of STEM vocational throughout the district K through 12. The STEM vocational coordinators for our district, Sharon Gooden and Shannon Adams, are working with a team of staff that represent the entire district to research and plan curricular initiatives for future vocational programming and vocational graduation pathways. Tonight, both Sharon Gooden and Shannon Adams, teachers here in our district, and also our STEM vocational coordinators, are in attendance to present their progress. Thank you to Martinsville Classroom Teachers Association for serving as a district resource and donating funding to Martinsville schools. The Teachers Association donated $1,000 to the elementary schools for test preparation materials. The Teachers Association donated $100 to the Kindergarten Kickoff and $280 to the district's robotic showcase. We appreciate this valuable partnership. Thank you, Martinsville Classroom Teachers Association. Also, thank you everyone for attending this evening. If you have any questions about any of the material I presented or anything that I didn't present that you want to talk about, please feel free to connect with me after the meeting tonight or via phone or email. I'll be glad to schedule a time to meet with you or talk with you spontaneously whenever it's good for you. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Sharon Gooden and Shannon Adams, if they would please come forward. And if you did not see this, the slides that they're on the panels now are also in a handout in the back. That's what they're going to be discussing. Also, what I just presented is in the back also. So those materials are for you so that you always know what's going on. Thank you.
I'm so glad a second mic came up because I'm not really nervous when I talk, but I was kind of nervous tonight. And it's like, well, it's because I think I don't get to move, and I move in the classroom all the day. So my name is Shannon Adams. I'm a high school teacher, mostly life science. I have background in earth science as well, teach AP Bio, medical intervention, human body systems, general biology. I've done that in the past, and anatomy. And so I'm the 5 through 12 STEM and skilled trades coordinator, and we have Sharon Gooden. Is it okay? Okay, she's good. I've been nominated. I have been nominated. So the added layer of stress is there are some bets, I think, running in the room about whether or not I can get this done in a certain amount of time. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best. We wanted to start with this slide before we got into the presentation because ultimately what we're all about is our kids and the best programming that we can give our kids. And our kids already have really, really great programming, but we can make it better in STEM and skilled trades. We can do more. And so we just wanted to demonstrate that our kids are already doing great things with STEM and skilled trades, and they're graduating and they're pursuing their dreams, but we can still do more for them. We have big dreams in Martinsville. We have very big dreams. We want our students to be as prepared for the best possible outcome when they leave our schools. You might ask, why the increased focus at this point? You know, like we have great STEM initiatives. We do. We have Brooklyn. We have all of these specialty elementary schools that are amazing. We have Project Lead the Way in Woodin and the high school already. Why more? It's a lot of work. It is a financial investment. We have to find teachers. It has to be sustainable. So why are we pushing again? It's a great question. I've got a little bit of background on this. Go as quickly as I can. The IDOE has recently released a STEM vision and mission, that STEM 2025 is what I call it. And it's about a 35-page document. If you'd like it, I can get it to you. But I can basically tell you what it says. It says that all school districts must have STEM everywhere from K through 12. It must be everywhere. And that must happen by 2025. And it's not just the curriculum, it's the way you approach your curriculum. Why Project Lead the Way? Research-based. What we see with PLTW, particularly when students take 2 courses, is an average increase somewhere between 6 to 13%. Depends on the state and what studies they did. It depends on how many courses the kids have had. But 6 to 13% improvement in math and ELA test scores. And the most improvement is seen in children from socioeconomically disadvantaged communities and special education backgrounds. Additionally, the state of Indiana, and I am not a pathways expert, that is our counselors, and they'll be here at some point to talk about pathways, but the state of Indiana is changing what it looks like to graduate in Indiana. And part of that is Indiana Graduation Pathways. It's part of Indiana's next level learning. And what we're about to see, with just a little bit of work here, is how much this STEM and skilled trades plan is going to support those graduation pathways that are now requisite, absolutely required to graduate from our schools. We have a lot of opportunity here. As I've already alluded, we have amazing immersion elementaries. They focus on absolutely amazing things. They're doing great things every day. Bell continues to work on that cohesive approach and make sure all of our elementary specialties are represented. They're doing an amazing job. Wooden, very strong STEM at Wooden. We have great Project Lead the Way programming in the high school. This is a great opportunity to expand it, meet and exceed the state's vision for STEM. Oh, and we can do some more hands-on stuff with it too. And what I hear is that's what our kids like. And I don't just hear it, I see it every day. So how do we solve this problem? We've got these opportunities. We're already really good. Okay, well, let's just do some more of it. Let's get more STEM in all of our elementaries in a manageable way. So let's give some people some time to work on that plan. It's big. It's really big work. So the district has dedicated some time in both Sharon and myself to this initiative. Let's put a team of people together from every building, as many grades represented as possible, as many specialties represented as possible. And let's talk to them about what we think is a good idea. And let's keep talking, and let's keep talking, and let's continue to talk and refine it every single time we talk about it, because we want it good. We want to make sure we maximize our success. So the planning team gave ourselves some non-negotiables. Non-negotiable one is sustainability. You must have a plan for your staffing portion. Some of these classes require specific training. Well, all of them require specific training, and some of them require a higher degree of specific training. So you have to have people who can teach it, and you have to be able to afford it, because STEM programming is expensive, and we feel like we've been able to do that. We want to make sure it's organic. It has to make sense for what we're already doing. We want to take what's great, and we want to elevate it. And we feel like with this plan, we're able to do that as well. And we want to maximize buy-in. We want everyone in this district to know that we are using STEM programming because it is what's best for our kids. And we can give them more of it, more of what's best for them. I love this graphic. It's not fancy, but it gets the point across. On the left-hand side, you'll see all of our schools that feed into our high school. My left. And on the opposite side, you're going to see every possible graduation pathway that we offer or we want to offer. It is color-coded based on how many pathways exist. It is underlined if we share it with Hoosier Hills. Martinsville High School offers 34 potential graduation pathways. This is us last year. This is how our K-8 schools fed in to what is now required to graduate in Indiana. This is us this year. This includes a mandatory computer technology, computer science component, now feeding into informatics. With this STEM plan, this is where we are next year. Can we back up, Sharon? So this is where we are today, and that's where we are in about 6 months. And what we see is that we are now feeding in much more, I could say aggressively, but that sounds like a negative word, more robustly into several graduation pathways in a much more solid way. Now we can use this tool. If I'm out here, I'm like, well, there's still some stuff we could do. You know, like maybe there's some things we need to look at. We see some holes maybe. I'm not saying this is happening. This is just a for instance. This tool can be used to help us build additional pathways from the K-8 programming. This is an example. Yeah, we're good. Did it go? Oop, sorry, Sharon. So when I saw those gaps, I just went out and looked to see if I could find courses that could support kids. There is a FACS course for 6 through 8 that would feed into the human social services pathway. There's an additional business and technology course that could potentially be offered in the middle school that would feed into marketing and finance. So this tool can be used to help us find other gaps. Sharon wants to go back and go forward. And we can do this in a year, in 6 months. This can happen for our kids next school year. So just as a review, we have some Project Lead the Way in all classes for K through 5. We're going to expand that. It's our goal, to expand. We're going to expand Project Lead the Way launch to all 5th graders. We are going to offer a Project Lead the Way launch gateway elective, to the 6th grade that most closely aligns with 6th grade science standards. We're going to embed, is that where I'm at? Embed a Project Lead the Way gateway program in 7th grade science. It's called Flight in Space. And our 7th grade science teachers are already, they've got a preview of that curriculum, and they're doing that this week and next week. So they can get a little sneaky peek as to what's coming. Also at Wooden, we are initiating 3 skilled trades classes: Introduction to Construction Trades, Engineering, basically an introduction to engineering that's before Intro to Engineering. It's called Engineering Essentials. And then Introduction to Agriculture. We are modifying the engineering curriculum all the way up through the high school. I currently teach the biomedical Project Lead the Way strand, and then we have a teacher who teaches computer science. Initially, when we brought engineering in, there wasn't really a lot of help for kids when they left to go to college. Now there are 8 universities in the state of Indiana that if you have had 2 engineering classes with Project Lead the Way, they give you automatic money every year. We are also looking at, and this is in its infancy, but we are looking at a professional development plan that will take all of our traditional science curriculum and make it more inquiry-based. So that's just starting, and then we're going to push that out. We are piloting in lots of ways. We're piloting a 2-day STEM field trip from one elementary out to Brooklyn. Sharon's working on that, April and May. That is a goal for us next year, that all of our kids would be able to use STEM in Brooklyn. We are we're piloting, we're getting ready to perhaps pilot, I'm gonna keep the secret, maybe a little bit of interactive technology with labs at maybe another school, just to see what they think. We are very, very excited. And we're looking at some Science Weekly. There's I believe it's called Studies Weekly is very popular. So we're looking at something called Science Weekly as well. Okay, this came straight from the I can't say the DOE, Indiana Next Level Programming, where the jobs are. Sharon and I had a really fun time modifying this picture so that it matched our color scheme. It took forever. If you look at what we're doing with STEM and skilled trades programming, it becomes very, very clear very quickly that we are preparing kids for high-paying jobs and a good quality of life where they're going to have benefits that take care of them. And they can buy a house, and they can buy a car when they need to buy a car, and they can put food on the table. Advanced manufacturing, building and construction, health and life sciences, IT and business, transportation and logistics. That's where the jobs are. That's what we need to do for our kids. And that's what this plan is going to help us do more of for them. And I'm pretty sure I just lost a bet. Thank you so much for listening to this tonight. Does anyone have any questions?
no one knows unless they do it, so appreciate everything you guys have done.
Thank you so much. Did anybody time me?
How far along are we into this process? I mean, for what we're going to put into action for the next school year, how much more is there for you guys to do?
So right now, we have locked in all of our engineering teachers. We're looking at 2 engineering and tech teachers and 2 math teachers, so we're splitting that. One of the things that happened with me being trained in the whole biomed strand is all of the eggs were in one basket. And that's a little bit problematic. So we're trying to spread that out. So we've got engineering lined out. Engineering curriculum is due to push out for 3 classes at the high school next year. We have made plans to push out those 3 classes at Wooden, so the intro classes that are engineering, ag, and then construction. Pretty well got that taken care of. We've got the embedding of flight and space in the 7th grade curriculum taken care of. We are working on the pilot of the field trip piece for Launch. Launch is the name for the K through 5s. We're working on that piece right now and troubleshooting that. We're hopeful that that can go for every kid in every grade next year. Sharon is working on getting all of our K through 4 teachers trained in PLTW Launch. We have currently received 30,000 in training grants, and we're getting ready to get about another 20, and that takes care of our K through 4s. So with K through 5 next year, the big thing with K through 5 will be training, and then we want to train people, but we want to support them before they have to teach this stuff in their classrooms. So when, say, you're a 3rd grader at Poston, and that 3rd grade class goes to Brooklyn, the teacher for that 3rd grade class has already been trained, and they're learning what it looks like to teach an entire PLTW Launch module with a master teacher. So next year's training for K through 4. Belle, we've still got a little bit of a conversation that we have to have with Belle. Belle's great. Belle is on board, but Belle is also stuffed to the brim. They are very full. So we have to find a space at Belle, and we're also having that teacher conversation still. From a monetary standpoint, approximately 80% of this program is pushed out next year.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is our action items. Dr. Roberson?
First, if the school board would ever decide to buy some land in the future for a future building, you have to have by statute at least 2 appraisers that appraise the land. So I'm recommending that you just make the decision tonight to appoint 2 appraisers for future land purchase. Now the board would have to decide if there's any land you want to buy. That would be the board decision. And then we would have the appraisers say what it's worth, and then you'd have to decide whether you want to buy it or not. But developers are purchasing land around Martinsville, and if something comes up, you don't have to come back to the board now. You would approve the appraisers, and you would approve who they're going to be. One is Max Kane. He does a lot of the appraisals for the schools. And then he could help us find another one. So it's just being proactive in case you want to buy some land and you don't need to come back to the board.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint appraisers for possible future land purchase.
So again, just so we understand, this is just making the motion to appoint them. It doesn't mean that if we find land in the future that we might be interested in, then we wouldn't have to bring it back to the board.
That's right. Okay. Because there probably would be other people wanting to buy it. So it might be you want to get in and get it appraised.
So
I don't have any land in mind. It's just,
Do we pay them a retainer, or we don't pay them unless they're going after land? Like when we approve them,
No, we don't pay them anything unless they do the appraising. Yep.
Thank you.
Well, I'll make the motion to appoint the appraisers then for possible future land purchase.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Are there any other questions or any other discussion? All in favor of appointing appraisers for possible future land purchase signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, proposal for 2022-2023 Well Wednesday. I'll let Mrs. Lips take that.
Thank you. Tonight, we're asking the board to allow us to begin an inquiry for weekly engagement in leading and learning. That's where we get well. Weekly engagement in leading and learning. Our Well Wednesday proposal with the Indiana Department of Education. The weekly engagement in leading and learning Well Wednesday proposal, the goal is student impact. The MSD of Martinsville is proposing a late arrival 1 day per week for the 2022-2023 school year in order to provide teachers with time for collaboration with professional learning communities and with training and professional development. The MSD of Martinsville is committed to supporting great teaching to improve student achievement. Rather than sending our staff outside of the district during instructional time for professional development opportunities, we wish to allow teams to collaborate in-house through professional learning communities called PLCs. The IDOE, Indiana Department of Ed, recognizes this need and allows a variety of options to provide time for teachers to do so. Instead of having our students do periodic e-learning days for this purpose, we are opting to utilize 2 hours a week for the extra time built into our instructional school days to implement PLCs. Specifically, students will arrive 2 hours late 1 day per week. If the board allows us to begin an inquiry, the district will submit its application to the DOE in February 2022, this month. Under Indiana Code 20-31-4.1-4, a school can submit this application in order to do one or more of the following: improve student performance and outcomes, offer the applicant flexibility in the administration of educational programming, improve the efficiency of school operations, promote innovative educational approaches to student learning, and advance the mission or purpose of the school or groups of schools. Tonight, granting permission to allow us to begin the application process is not granting permission for this proposal to be included in the 2022-2023 calendar. The proposal, as presented tonight, can be adjusted throughout the process. Also, the completed application would need to be approved by the state. And then, if the state would approve the application, finally, the group, us, the district, would come back to the board and seek approval of the proposal to be considered as a component for the 2022-2023 school calendar. Like other districts who do this kind of thing, we believe this is important for our district to move our student progress forward, to do reform of some of our programming. We would include high ability, special education, trainings of various sorts, collaboration not only with grade levels, but between schools, amongst schools throughout the district. It would provide cohesiveness, collaboration, continuity, and fluidness. Currently, we have Paragon Elementary at one end of the district. We have Green Township at the other end of the district. Sometimes those teachers never get to see each other. They don't get to collaborate. They don't get a team. We all believe in the team concept. We all work as a district, a school community. It's difficult to work and unify as a school community when you do the beginning of the year breakfast, when everyone gets greeted, and to the end of the year retirement celebration at the high school, but you have no other times built into your schedule to get together. Questions you might have would be the time allotment. So we've studied that time allotment. The current legal requirements regarding instructional time indicate that a school must provide at least 54,000 instructional minutes for grades 1 through 6. We're way over that. So if we would include a 2-hour late arrival once a week for the whole year, grades 1 through 6 would still have 60,000 instructional minutes. That's 6,000 more than is required. And that's for the 180-day instructional requirement. For the secondary schools, grades 7 through 12, the current legal requirements regarding instructional time indicate that a school must have at least 64,800 minutes for grades 7 through 12. If we would approve this, and it would go to the state as an application, and the state would approve it, and then we'd come back to the board, and the board would approve it to be included into the calendar. With a 2-hour late arrival, our high school, our secondary schools, middle school, and intermediate would still have 65,400 instructional minutes, which exceeds what is necessary to meet that 180-day instructional day requirement. Other points that we thought you might be interested in: the student schedules will be adjusted that day of late arrival, Wednesday, to ensure that they still meet all classes. Transportation will be operated exactly the same as a 2-hour delay for inclement weather. This would reduce the change for families in their routines on those kinds of occasions. We will work with that. We will work with the before and after school care programs, with the YMCA, to accommodate families who need special child care considerations. Instructional assistants can make up time throughout the week and spend more time with students and less time with just supervision after school or before school. We could also implement programming and activities run by instructional assistants if needed. Research supports a positive relationship between common planning time and student success. Common planning time allows for earlier identification and development of plans for struggling students. The size of our district in square miles, over 250 square miles, offers very little time for our elementary schools to collaborate on common lessons and assessments. That 250 square miles is the reason Martinsville schools are different than other schools. Franklin, Brownsburg, Center Grove, these schools all do this sort of thing. They do it maybe in 45-minute increments or 60-minute increments. It would be necessary for us with our bus, with our transportation, because we've worked closely with our transportation director on this plan, for them to cover the square mileage to pick everyone up and then to deliver and then get back out for their second routes. We would need the 2 hours, plus if we want our staff members to truly get together and meet maybe in a common facility, the high school, the field house, one of the buildings or another. We foresee a vision where different grade levels, different subject components can be meeting in different buildings. They can share ideas that they have. They can see each other's buildings. But that's why the 2-hour instead of the 1 hour or the 45 minutes. Increased common lesson time increases opportunities for teachers to share best practices on common lessons so that lessons are continually refined with best practices as future lessons are updated. Offering a full range of programs and specialty schools, which we do, is good for students. We don't want to quit doing that, but it needs common planning time. And common planning time right now is a conflict for us because of how we're spread out. Consistency is always a strength. That's why we went one day, same day, every week. We use the same schedule on e-learning days, and for parents, the fact that this possible proposal with a scheduled time is being considered now instead of at the start of school year, they will have time to make arrangements and plans that are necessary. So, at this time, I need the board to consider this inquiry for Well Wednesdays. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion for the proposal for the 2022-23 Well Wednesday.
I have a question first.
Sure.
Was there a committee that put this proposal together?
Yes, thanks for asking. I do appreciate that. We have talked with all of the principals and leaders in the district, also with the teachers' union representatives, and they have talked with the teachers about this, and this is something that professional educators embrace. Like I said, this is common throughout other school districts in the state of Indiana. This is not new. The only thing is new about it is the way that we had to customize it for Martinsville, and we want ours to be better.
I have a question. What about the Career Center? How are they going to adjust that for the students in the
The Career Center, as always, even on e-learning days, functions as normal. Our Career Center, which is Hoosier Hills down in Bloomington, the people that go to Hoosier Hills for vocational classes follow Bloomington's schedule. They follow their spring break schedule. They follow, if they're on snow delay or something like that, they follow Bloomington's schedule. So it would be the same as always.
So the 2-hour delay wouldn't hinder them going to vocational school?
No, the students that go to Hoosier Hills follow the Hoosier Hills schedule. And then we incorporate their instruction accordingly, like we make up their classwork or let them virtual learn if they miss a course or class because of that. The students who have chosen the pathway for vocation, and it's necessary for them maybe to go to Hoosier Hills right now. We're hoping to incorporate a lot of those classes in Martinsville very soon. And pathways are this. Pathways is just a way to graduate. Back when I was in high school, I don't know about you, but you only had to have a certain amount of credits and you could graduate. Well, it's not like that anymore. You have to have a certain amount of credits, but you have to choose a path. And that path has certain courses you have to take along that path. So that's when Ms. Adams was explaining about graduation pathways. We have someone from the high school that's going to be speaking at one of our next meetings about graduation pathways, because we want, when you start elementary school here in Martinsville, we want you to know that the programming at that elementary school is going to lead you to graduation. That's the purpose for all of the graphics that show that. We want to have it on a flyer. We want to be able to give out when they go to Kindergarten Kickoff, hey, you start these classes in these elementary schools, this is going to get you to graduation, and it's going to get you to these jobs that are going to help your family in the future. And vocational, skills trades, STEM, is something that we have here in Martinsville that surrounding schools don't have. Us sending our students to Hoosier Hills, we're going to try to dwindle that away so that we take care of all of our business right here in town. That's why we went to the e-learning this year. That's why we've maximized our alternative education, our night school, and we're going to make these kinds of things happen because we know Martinsville's growing, and for our schools to be able to accommodate it, we have to have preparation. That's the purpose of Well Wednesday, so that our students have the programming that they need to be successful in life.
somebody else have a question, because I do have several questions, if you don't mind. And before I begin, I am very much in favor of the PLCs. That's what the added minutes were for. It was always supposed to be initiated, and then things kind of got sent sideways due to a disease. But anyway, I have a lot of concerns about the 2-hour, because I did call, and it's like most schools do a 30-minute, maybe a 45-minute maximum. 2 hours is 8 hours a month. Our students aren't getting instruction. So that's a concern that I have. So I just would want to know what came up with the 8 hours of the students not getting instruction.
Thanks for asking, and I'll reemphasize that the reason that we need 2 hours instead of 1 to travel from Brooklyn to this facility, it takes about 20 minutes. To travel to Paragon, well, you guys know how far is that, Michelle, from here to Paragon? 15, 20 minutes?
10 if you're speeding.
Okay, so if we want the Paragon, if you're speeding, okay, we won't say that. But if we want the Paragon teachers and the Brooklyn teachers and the Green Township teachers to all be able to meet in a central location, to team, to collaborate, to get together, to train, maybe a CPR training, maybe a sensitivity training, maybe whatever else is out there that we need to do, or just on a rotation basis with different grade levels, different subject matter, to have common lessons, to share ideas, to have common assessments, you're going to need travel time included. So for the 2 hours, if you're traveling 20 minutes into a location here in town, or if the in-town people are traveling to Brooklyn or Paragon for an activity, then they have to have 40 minutes of travel time. 20 out, 20 in, to wherever they're going. That's 40 minutes. Besides the fact the teacher then also needs to prepare for that first class that he or she is needing to teach when the students arrive. So the time slot is different than what other schools do. And the reason it's different is because we're unique. We have a special setup. We want to keep those Green Township kids coming to Martinsville. And we want to keep Green Township open. We want to keep Paragon open. You know, those schools are under 200 students, but it's valuable to keep those students in our district. We're meeting the needs of those students, but to meet the needs, those teachers can't be on an island of their own. Brooklyn can't be out there by themselves. Those teachers, Paragon can't, and Green Township can't. We need them to be part of the conversation, the dialogue. People say, well, what about Zoom? Just like we say with e-learning and virtual learning, we believe the brick and mortar, because of relationships, because of contact, is the most important thing. So we need to have people together so they can share, so they can have dialogue, so they can go back and forth. Zoom, as we all know with technology, sorry Tiffany, doesn't always meet our standards. And we have high standards here in Martinsville. So that's why the need for 2 hours.
Okay, we'll come back to that one. You did say the classroom aides would not lose any hours, right?
No.
None
In fact,
whatsoever.
this could help us. Because right now, some classroom instructional aides only have 29 hours on the time clock. And if they're doing, we have obviously more than 29 hours in a school week. So if we're taking away 2 hours every school week, then that gives them more time to be with students, our instructional aides. So instructional aides will not lose time. They will not lose pay. It will be, for us, more valuable because we will get to use them more with students.
Did this get signed off on by Dennis? Because I know with our bus drivers, you said a 2-hour delay, but that doesn't happen on a regular basis every week. And some of our bus drivers may have a job. So has this already been gone through Dennis and he's talked about it with his and everybody's on board?
Absolutely. We have all stakeholders involved in this plan, not just teachers, not just administrators, but our district technology, transportation, food service, everyone's involved. Now we're involving parents, obviously. Parents were a huge consideration because most people that we've talked to are parents in our district. And childcare is always a factor, but the most important thing we hear from parents over and over and over is consistency. We don't want any surprises, and we want consistency. Because we also thought about going every other week. You know, one first week of the month and third week of the month. And we thought, oh, that'll confuse people. You know, it's like I don't know if you've ever been in a school where they've done red days and blue days. Some schools do red and white days, blue and gold days, and they have different schedules on those days. We tried that one time at West Middle School. We had blue and white days for our gym and health classes. It was a disaster. Parents were complaining, teachers complained, students complained because no one was ever at the right place at the right time. So consistency was a key ingredient, but also including all the stakeholders. And Dennis Mills, as the transportation director, without Dennis, without our operations director, and without we have to feed people, we have to have the schools running, and we have to get them there. So Dennis is always on every committee, unfortunately for him.
And then you did say that you got parents' feedback on this, and so what was the argument for going, because you talked about travel, well, what was the argument about the end of the day? So then if you wanted everyone to go to Perrigan, then they could go home and you wouldn't have to worry about the travel back. So why not at the end? Or
Thanks for
the
bringing that
teachers
up.
and the parents?
That was a huge question because my brother teaches at Center Grove High School, and Center Grove High School does exactly that, Michelle. Not just Center Grove High School, Center Grove School District. They do early dismissal. That's the common practice for a lot of schools, to do early dismissal. So when we called all these school districts and talked to their curriculum directors and their principals, we said, you know, if you had to redo this, how would you do it differently? And Mrs. Nora Hoover, the assistant superintendent at Center Grove, said, what we would do differently is this. And we started thinking about this. This was way early on in the process. We started thinking about this, and it makes so much sense for parents, because if at the end of the day you release those students early, if you're involved with an activity, you've got a time gap. So we have high school students and probably a lot of middle school and intermediate students that have a time gap without either one, no supervision because they're just running around because they chose to leave, or two, they maybe have supervision, but here again, then we're using an instructional aid for that supervision and not really for instruction in the classroom, not really helping the teacher be in the classroom. It was just for like a babysitting service. So the after school, the early dismissal provided not only more difficulties for the high school, middle school, and intermediate, it also provides, according to Center Grove was one example, it provided, you know, a problem for them with daycare because parents would have to leave their jobs early, or they would have to make arrangements after school that they hadn't typically made. In the morning, they said, they can drop them off as usual, and you know the student would get there, because I don't know if you're aware, but our YMCA does an early morning daycare in every one of our schools. And so the student is there in the building with supervision from the YMCA, and they have breakfast there. So if they would still be there. Those YMCA people would still be there for those early kids, for those littles. And they would still have breakfast there, and they would still be in their regular routine. And then another component that they thought was very advantageous for them was that high schoolers sometimes have jobs. And when you have a job and you're working late and you have advanced classes, advanced coursework, and you're doing homework, you're sometimes a lot more tired. And that gives them sleep-in time. Instead of having that gap after school where they still have to go to wrestling practice or swim practice, and then they get home. So their days are still the same. So this allowed just a little bit of flexibility for kids who had jobs, maybe had babies, or had responsibilities outside of school. This allowed for a little extra flexibility with that.
And then on the days that is the 2-hour delay start time, middle school and high school, they still have their prep period during that day, or is that altered as well?
No, the day's exactly like it is for teachers sitting out there, just like an e-learning day. And what we do on e-learning days, for those of you who would not maybe know, it's the exact same school format. It's just short. Everything's a little shorter. So, it would, you'd still have periods. For example, if you're a high school, middle school, intermediate, you'd have periods 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the same way. It just would be a little bit shorter classes on that day.
Okay, and lastly, again, I believe in what this is proposing. I just am very concerned about the 8 hours loss of instruction. With COVID over the last 2 years, students are a little bit behind because of all the out of school and e-learning, and I'm for it. I don't see how this is in the best interest of the students. And the perfect example, and I hope she doesn't mind I'm picking on her, but I've had a son who's taken Mrs. Adams' class. She's awesome. Those classes are awesome, but her material is hard. So now that student's got less time in that classroom that maybe needs the extra time, or the harder the material, the more behind they could get. 8 hours is a lot when you configure it in a month, 2 months, 3 months. I just don't see how that's beneficial for the students.
We just need to look at the facts. And the facts are we're still going to exceed the state mandate, the state requirement. And Martinsville right now has banked in, we have so many more minutes than other school districts have. So we're ahead in that game. We're ahead in our curriculum, and we don't want our students to lose hours either. This is, and with the way we have, and we'll take that idea though, and we could go back to the high school especially, because there's some ways we can maneuver that with lunch programming and arty hour and that kind of thing, and still make some adjustments where they wouldn't be losing that time. So, it's good to hear these things, very valuable, because we can go back to the schools and make it demonstrate exactly what you wanted, and make sure we include that embed that in. We don't want our students to be behind. The whole purpose of this is for our students to be ahead. For us to, I love what Shannon said, exceed and achieve and meet and exceed. We're going to meet the state requirements, but we're going to exceed it. We're going to exceed it not only in minutes. Yes, we can look that it's 8 hours we're missing, but think of what we're gaining. Think of all the strengths and all the unification and collaboration and unity and team. We all believe in teams because we're all from families. Families are a small team. We're in a big school district. If we want to have that sense of belonging, sense of community, we have to have team time. This is team time. This is our huddle time. So if you're an athlete, this is our huddle time. This is when our coaches talk. This is when we can talk strategy. And it's all about strategy, because the bottom line is we have to provide what's best for our kids. And this is how we're going to get there. And we appreciate everybody's support in everything we do. We want it to be the best it can be. And if this plan isn't the best it can be, we'll go back and make it better.
I understand that, and I appreciate that. If you're also talking facts, our test scores aren't great either. And so you got to understand that, and I'm not all about tests, it's one of the guidelines of many, but reducing the amount of time that they're getting instruction, I don't want it to get them behind.
Exactly, and that is one of the goals of the plan, is to improve student success. When we look to see if this plan is working, we're going to look at student success, and what is student success? We don't have a scoreboard like they do at a basketball game. We have to look at test scores, and right now, she's exactly right. Our test scores aren't where we want them. They're going to be higher, and our district is going to be better. This will help make that happen.
Is the proposal going to be for 2 hours? If we approve the 2 hour and it's not working, then does it come back to us? I mean, is the proposal going to the IDOE 2 hours?
We're just asking tonight for permission to fill out an application.
So you don't put the times on the application?
I haven't seen the application, but I'm assuming we have to give the rudiments of our plan. If they ask for the hours, we can say, we're not decided, 1 or 2. And we can go back and dig more research and talk to more people and bring back other results next month.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Mrs. Lips, just a question too on that. I mean, I agree with Michelle. I mean, I also had initial concerns about the 2 hours, but as you explained about, you know, we do have a very vast area, which is unlike a lot of the neighboring school corporations around us. But I also took in consideration the instructional time is what concerned me as well. But, you know, I looked at or thought about, you know, all of last school year, every Wednesday was an e-learning day. And, you know, that was a lot of instructional time I felt personally that, you know, the kids probably lost out on as well. So I feel like I agree. I think this is a great opportunity for our teachers and staff members, but also the students are still gaining instructional time or getting the instructional time they need less, you know, than what they did or more than what they did last school year. So I think that's a plus.
Absolutely. We're not looking backwards. We're looking forwards. And, you know, we're just looking to the future of what we can do to be better. And this is just an idea to be better. If that idea needs different things adjusted, we want to hear it because we want it to be the best it can be.
Are a lot of the teachers then are in favor of doing this?
Absolutely. Teachers that are in here, does anyone want to speak to that? David? And I don't mean to correct you, but they won't have 2 hours together. I mean, we're asking, you know, for 2 hours, but we're counting in travel time because our vision isn't just to freelance this. We're going to have an agenda every Wednesday for the entire district. And that agenda is going to have goals. And we want them to be in larger groups together. It won't just be Paragon at Paragon and Poston at Poston and Smith at Smith. We're going to have the groups, we're going to have groups together, either like subject, like grade level, or maybe like a new teacher meeting. Instead of our new teacher meetings having to be at 5 o'clock at night, we're going to use that time so that we don't lose good new people. We have that time that we can connect with them and get them embedded in what we're doing early. So they wouldn't really have 2 hours together because they're going to travel, get to a spot, have a core of professional development, professional learning community time, and then have to go back to their location and prepare for that first class. Yeah, Ms. Randall?
appreciate it, but this is the first time I've said test scores. I haven't brought them up. This is the first time. I've been here long enough. I know where test scores go. I also know what COVID has done the last 2 years. I greatly appreciate. I said I approve of this. I am just concerned with the students. They're my priority. I understand that you need this prep time. I just have concerns about 2 hours, 8 hours a month of students not being in the classroom. And I think after the last 2 years, we've learned, and we keep hearing, that's where they need to be.
Thank you. Thank you for giving him input.
Okay, do we have any other questions or any other comments? Okay, then again, I'd like to entertain, and again, this is just a proposal so that we can fill out the application. So I'd like to entertain a motion for a proposal for the 2022-23 Well Wednesday.
I make a motion to approve the proposal for the 22-23 Well Wednesday.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the proposal for the 2022-23 Well Wednesday signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Back to you, Dr. R.
Asking for permission to apply for a safety grant. This particular grant is a $100,000 matching grant, so it would be $200,000. $100,000 from the grant, $100,000 from the school district. The date has not been set yet for that grant. We've not heard about it, but it will come up, and not having to come back to the board, but because it will be competitive to be able to apply for that. Tim Foley is working on the threat assessment, which is required for that, and he will have that ready. And so if you approve this, once the date of the grant comes out, we can just apply right then. So asking for permission to apply for that grant.
Where would the matching portion come from the corporation?
Well, it could come from cash balance, it can come from operation, it can come from the education fund. I would suggest cash balance.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion for permission to apply for the safety grant.
I'll make the motion to apply for the safety grant.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any other questions or any discussion? Okay, all in favor of permission to apply for the safety grant when it becomes available, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, Dennis Mills brought a proposal to us for changing some bus routes. You have William Duckworth Contractors and Joey Dallas switching those two routes that the drivers have so that one of the drivers is out by Green Elementary, where that driver lives out that way. Doesn't cost any more money. Dennis Mills would like to do this as a good thing for the drivers. The contractors, the companies that are contracting are all in favor of it. So it asks for permission to allow them to do that.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve bus route proposed transfer or change.
I move that we approve Bus Route 12 proposed transfer.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor of bus route 12 proposed transfer, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Our special education director, Nate Dilley, is asking for permission for a parent to provide transportation for one of the students. This is done a lot in school districts, and it saves the school districts money because all we're paying is the mileage. We're not paying for a bus. We're not paying for a bus driver for one student. And the parents like it, obviously. So he would like permission for a parent to be able to transfer their student by their own vehicle. Now they have to provide insurance and all that to us. And all we pay is mileage. A good deal.
Okay, again, I'd like to entertain a motion for transportation agreement for the school year 2021-22 for the remainder of the school year.
I'll make a motion for the transportation agreement for the school year 2021-22.
I second it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, Poston Road Elementary is asking for permission to apply for a Literacy Matters grant from United Way. That grant would be for $1,898.06. So we'd ask for approval.
Okay, again, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the Poston Road Literacy Matters grant from United Way.
I'll make a motion to approve the Poston Road Literacy Matters grant.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Anybody have any questions or any discussion? All in favor of approving the Poston Road Elementary Literacy Matters grant from United Way signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, seeking approval from the board to apply for a high school earn Indiana pilot grant from the Employment Aid Readiness Network in Indiana, the amount of $5,000, which could lead to $25,000. Tiffany Grant has written the grant and the double grant, and she could answer questions better than me, but she's asking for approval.
And Tiffany, so this wouldn't exceed the $5,000 then? I know that it could lead up to $25,000, but initially it won't go over the $5,000.
Okay, can I ask for a motion to approve the Earn Indiana Pilot Grant?
Make the motion to approve the Earn Indiana Pilot Grant.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor of approving the Earn Indiana Pilot Grant signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Our 2022 Kindergarten Kickoff, which is February 24th, we've had donations come in for food and for things that we give to the students that are enrolling the kindergarten kids and so on. Ray Wealth Management, $500. Bennett Realty to $500. Edward Jones, $300. And State Farm, $100. So that's $1,400 a donation. This community is amazing the amount of donations that they give that will help pay for the kindergarten kickoff. So asking for approval for those donations.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve the donations. Actually, there are 4 of them that would go toward the kindergarten kickoff.
I'll make a motion to approve the donations for the kindergarten kickoff.
I second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of approving the donations for kindergarten kickoff signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, a couple more donations I think we can do together. One is from Renaissance Charitable Foundation to Ray Hoosier Foundation of $1,300, and a donation from Duke Energy and REMC to Real Men Read, $5,250. Ask for approval of those donations.
Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the Renaissance Foundation to the Ray Hoosier Foundation and Duke Energy and REMC to Real Men Read program.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of accepting those donations signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda, we have open for public comments. At the completion of the school board's regular business meeting, a visitor who wishes to speak may do so at the discretion of the president. The visitor will be required to state his or her full name and will be given the opportunity to speak using the same guidelines that is used for agenda items, not to exceed 2 minutes for each person. It shall not be permissible to orally present or discuss complaints against individual employees of the MSD of Martinsville at any board or school trustee meeting. Such charges or complaints shall be presented to the Board of School Trustees in writing and shall be signed by the person making the charge or the complaint. A year ago, this school board changed policy allowing public comment at the end of the meetings on items outside of the school board agenda. We have embraced this opportunity for community members to share their ideas and concerns. Keeping within the 2-minute guideline helps us maintain an orderly business meeting. If you want or need to speak to the board longer than 2 minutes, please feel free to connect with us here tonight after the meeting. In an effort to fairly adhere to the 2-minute guidelines for all participants, we will present the 2-minute time on the interactive panels that you see around you. Board members will listen to the speakers during the designated time frame and will not participate in back and forth comments with those speaking. Board follow-up or question answers will be given at the end of the meeting or via phone call or at the beginning of the next meeting. At the conclusion of the designated 2 minutes, speakers will be asked to return to their seats. During our school board meetings, we appreciate everybody demonstrating civility and respect for all views. So at this time, is there anyone that would like to come up to the microphone and have a comment? Going once. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the Superintendent Report. Dr. Roberson?
Yeah, the only comment I have is once again to reiterate that no contact tracing. Dr. Broderick, Morgan County Board of Health, said we could actually start it now. Indiana Department of Health has asked for us to wait till February 23rd. We generally follow what they want, but no contact tracing. I have a granddaughter that did not have COVID, got contact traced, missed 19 days of her senior soccer season, ruined her season, and never had COVID. It's a rule that's caused a lot of kids to be out of school. It's frustrated a lot of people, and it's over. So that's a good thing.
Okay. Any board members have comments?
I think we need to thank Audrey Jackson.
Yeah.
She's done.
Yeah.
She was our,
Yay, Audrey.
and all her,
All
yes,
of our
yes,
nurses
but I
and
know.
all the teachers who tracked it, everyone, because it's a chore.
Mhm.
And again, no one knows unless they do it. It's a beast.
A lot of hours.
A lot of hours.
I just wanted to congratulate the spelling bee winners again. I know this is favoritism, but we had a family friend, Lucas Boggs, who's going to go and compete. And I also had a niece standing up here, Lila Kanoy. She did not get her spelling skills from me, her aunt, or any of her boy cousins. I can assure you of that. I have done that once, and it is scary. And I'm embarrassed to say that the word that got me was Wednesday. So I'm a little embarrassed about that, but a girl who was my friend before I started to spell it said, well, she's going to miss that one. My reply cost me recess, but we're friends now. I also wanted to congratulate, I hope they're still listening, Kirsten Willen broke the school record with the three-pointers. She got 9 in a game. So congratulations to Kirsten Willen. Also, Mrs. Lips already said it, but Molly Stout, 13 in the state of Indiana. That is awesome. Before I came to the school board meeting this evening, I went to pay my respects to a teacher that used to teach here and who was an incredible man, Mr. Dave McDougall. If you got a chance to meet him, he was an incredible person. He used to be a DEA agent, and he was a bad man in a good way. He had stories that he would tell us all the time, and I don't feel sorry, but the person who sold any kid drugs, they were in trouble. He was just an awesome teacher. He loved his kids. Again, he used to tell a bunch of stories to my sons. I hope they're scared to death to even look at drugs after speaking to Mr. McDougall. He used to say he was the lead agent to go to cartels, and he told my kids, that didn't mean I was the top dog. I was the first one through the door, through the brick wall, but my deepest respects go to his family, Mr. Dave McDougall. He was, again, a great man. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, again, I'd like to thank everyone for attending here this evening. Good luck getting home. Hopefully we just have wet roads and nothing icy. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.